Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, I had a question.
Sure.
And we should also drink some bourbon. What are five, or maybe, well, I'll do five, you do five. How about we pick some overlooked bourbons?
Okay.
When I first got into bourbon hunting, I kind of skipped a couple of brands. And you know what? Let's go ahead and bring out the obvious one. I know we said we're going to leave it to the end. Let's do it.
We have to have one gimme bottle here that everyone knows we're going to pick it.
Yep.
We might as well talk about it right away. Bam! Wild Turkey 101.
So I totally skipped Wild Turkey, and I was actually on Reddit, which I'm not normally on. And like I was reading some posts about Wild Turkey 101, and it kind of occurred to me, wait, there's like a fan base for Wild Turkey. And I thought, well, that's weird. I assumed it was rot gut, bottom shelf.
It's not just for high school and college.
Well, yeah, and so I picked one up and I found out Wild Turkey's pretty awesome. Anyway,
but
there's more to choose than just Wild Turkey.
I've talked to a number of people who are into bourbon and they're far enough into it that you know, that they're trying a lot of different things and they've got their opinions on what they like and don't like, that have never had this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the theme of my list, is some that they're not all just budget friendly, but they happen to be, but it's not the point. They're ones that use, kind of like you said, they get overlooked. Maybe sometimes people, if you get into the bourbon game and you don't have a budget restraint in front of you, it's probably easy to just bypass a lot of those ones and you jump to the expensive stuff because you assume cost equals price.
Yes.
And it doesn't. So we're going to do our top five. I don't know what Greg's are. He doesn't know what mine are.
Agreed.
So do you want to get it started out with, or do you want me to go?
Well, it's your bar.
All right. I'm just gonna grab these at random. They're not in any particular order.
Yep.
They're under a blanket over here.
Under a blanket.
These are bourbons that you've just got to have. You know. Bam. By the way, mine are all empty because these are all bottles that I have killed but kept because I like to make things out of them.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So Elijah Craig Small Batch. It's kind of your basic. It's around 30 bucks.
94 proof.
94 proof. It's fantastic. I mean, it's one of the best examples of just, if you want to show somebody what bourbon tastes like, perfect. It's just got a great, all around kind of like a general bourbon flavor to it, you know?
That's a good choice.
Nothing weird in any particular direction, and it's budget friendly, so.
So I actually don't have anything, well, I'll go with this one. It's in the same family.
Okay.
Bang, is that what you say?
Bam.
Bam, I'll leave that to you. This is an Evan Williams product as well. No.
Heaven Hill product.
Heaven Hill product, Evan Williams. But they do several different kind of budgety kind of ones, and one of their, call it a small batch, is $17.83. It's like $2 more than the basic one, but that $2 is so worth it.
It's 90 proof.
You get a little bit higher proof. It's hand-selected barrels that are just a little better, and boy, is it good.
Yeah, and that's another one that gets overlooked because of a brand. Like, you know, people get into bourbon, and they're like, okay, well, and I did this too, just like you did. Like, you were not into Evan Williams even when we first started hanging out. Yeah. And then you kind of go back to it, it's like, you know what?
It's really, really good.
Yeah, and once you, again, you get past that price equals quality thing, you know. So, all right, empty bottle number 2. One of these is gonna have some bourbon in it.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I promise. There's one bottle that has actual whiskey left in it. Here's another one you just absolutely have to, bam, Knob Creek, 9-year. You gotta have this in your bourbon journey, for lack of a better term.
That was on my list. It ended up not coming over here just because it didn't work out that way, but that's a great choice.
Usually runs around $30. 100 proof,
Yep.
9 years. I mean, people freak out about 10-year bourbons. This is 9 years. It's available everywhere. Go to any bar, they're gonna have this. You know, so you can try it there if you want to try it before you buy it.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just a great, made by Jim Beam, just a fantastic, again, down the middle of the road sort of bourbon.
Totally, totally agree. Now, where do I want to go next?
This can very much go toe-to-toe with expensive bourbons.
I would agree. And so, speaking of expensive bourbons, this is not.
And speaking of Jim Beam family.
So this is my Jim Beam.
That one might cause some controversy.
So this came out, what, 2 years ago? Something like that. It's bottled and bond, $20 to $22.
Yep.
Pretty regularly available if the liquor store chooses to carry it, but it's not hard to find. Some people dislike it, but it has a very unique flavor profile, and it's cinnamon. And so if you don't like cinnamon, you're not going to like this bourbon, to be honest.
Cornbread and cinnamon, that's what
it is very aggressive, and it works very well for me. I like it a ton. We've made several comments about how it's won flights for me.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I acknowledge it's a little bit controversial, but
that's kind of like...
It's a good one to try, and it's not expensive, so, it's not a huge investment.
In talking about, like, bourbons that people miss on the way, I'm kind of looking at this like people are on their way up the ladder in getting into bourbon, and the ones that they just pass by and they,
Yeah.
So, okay, let's keep this theme going.
Okay.
We're going to stay in the Jim Beam Distillery family. We're going to stay with the cinnamon profile, and I think you know exactly where this is going.
I almost brought that one too, but I thought, oh, this may be too much.
Yep, you got to have it. Bam, Old Grandad Bonded. For a liter, this is about $25 around here.
Yep.
Heavy cinnamon profile.
Even more so than this one. I think that could be their most cinnamon forward, and I don't know why they don't just put that on the label.
Yeah,
our most cinnamon forward bourbon.
It would make sense. So this one, I actually just went through a bottle of this. I had this in the decanter. I like to keep a decanter upstairs in the bedroom near the bathtub. And so, yeah, this one, it was one that I hadn't bought in a while, and I was looking for a decanter bourbon, and usually I buy like something like one of these for that purpose. These are all great like everyday sippers, just anytime you feel like having a bourbon, this is gonna scratch the itch. And it's not, you're not just drinking something cheap because, it's a daily sipper. It's fairly inexpensive, but it's really good quality. And so I was surprised again by how much I like this.
Yeah, it is such a good one. And totally surprised me too. I really ignored that till maybe 6 months ago when it was in a flight, and I really was impressed.
Yep.
It occurred to me, all of my bottles, well, actually I think the next one may be opened.
Okay.
This wasn't on purpose, I've been trying to kill bottles and not open anything new.
I've been doing that too. I've been taking all the ones that I've got this much left in and
really
let's put it out to pasture.
Yep, exactly. So the next one, I think it's over. We've done 3? No,
this will be your third. Yeah,
this is my third.
This was our bottle.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, interesting choice.
So I won't go too far on this because we could talk a lot about it. A lot of these are big distilleries that everybody's heard of. I think Rabbit Hole is probably less so. Much smaller distillery. I don't know the exact quantities they produce, but they're doing some really interesting things. This is a 4-grain bourbon.
That was a very interesting.
Is very, very interesting. And I like everything they're doing. I mean, I grabbed this one particular one, but just sometimes smaller distilleries are hit and miss, but some of them are absolutely worth trying.
Sure. Yeah, so this would fall into the category of while you're on your way up the bourbon ladder, if you want to branch out into a smaller, more craft distillery, that's a great option. Yep. You actually had that on our list of, can you pour a little bit of that?
Oh, you may.
I think it was our tier 2 bourbons. We started out with bourbons for beginners. Back when this channel was brand new. And then we did a tier 2, and you had this on that list, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting choice.
Been a really big fan of Rabbit Hole.
All right, so bottle number 4. Absolutely have to have. We just reviewed this. Bam. Old Forester 100 proof.
And that bottle was brand new last week, right?
Yeah.
Technically that was a different bottle.
Yeah, a little longer ago than that, but this was another decanter bottle. And honestly, those are some of my favorite bourbons.
That seems to be a theme.
Yeah, it's the decanter ones. It's the ones where I can go out and spend $25 on a liter of it, not breaking the bank, but it's going to be a really great bourbon that I enjoy drinking anytime.
That's so good.
Wow. Like, I'm not going to get a $60 bottle and pour it in the decanter, probably, But yeah, it's just a bottle that will never let you down. We just did the Old Forester 100 versus Bottled and Bond. And you were even very surprised, and this hasn't really been your flavor profile for the most part, but you loved it.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed with that particular one.
Yeah.
Was that your bottle or my bottle of the 100?
This is just a dead bottle this is one I just...
No, but you had... that was your bottle, and then I had the Whiskey Row one. I brought that one over. Okay.
Yeah, the Bottled and Bond.
Okay. Number 4 for me. We're going to leave Kentucky a little bit.
That is a different bourbon. I'm getting some black licorice on that this time.
Yeah, like really interesting flavor profiles. So we've talked about this distillery A fair amount.
Yes, Cat's Eye.
Cat's Eye Distillery. This is Obtainium, their bourbon whiskey.
Not to be confused with the Obtainium light whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're on your way up the bourbon ladder and you're still in that kind of 100 proof area, and you accidentally take a sip of Obtainium light whiskey, it's going to light your head on fire because it's upper 130s proof.
Yeah, light whiskey for some reason is a totally different animal, totally different like legal classification and so on. This one is a 5-year 118 proof.
Oh, that's okay. So you still got a hitter there.
Yeah, this is a bit of a hitter, but it's more about the distillery. Like sometimes it's really easy to pick something from the big, maybe the top 5 distilleries or whatever.
And a lot of times that's kind of where I went with this.
Yep.
Is the recommendations of while you're getting to know bourbon. Yeah, and we've done lists similar to that where we're like, okay, while you're getting to know bourbon, stick to these. Here's our recommended for beginners.
Sure.
These aren't just for beginners. These are for the people who have been into bourbon but skip these because they are from the bigger distilleries or because they're a little bit cheaper in price.
But there are some distilleries, like I think everybody has tried a nice looking bottle and been disappointed.
Yeah.
But there are some distilleries, and I think these two are good examples of smaller distilleries that are still worth taking a risk. And obviously flavor is subjective and it may not work for you, but
I like that angle though, because I didn't do that with mine, but I like the angle of if you want to branch out into some craft stuff, here's some good options.
Exactly.
And there are definitely great craft distilleries out there.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Sure. But again, like you said, they are very hit or miss. So for the last one, we're going up in proof here a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay.
And you get that higher proof range. Absolutely have to have. Bam!
I was gonna put that on
Wild
my list
Turkey,
too.
rare breed.
So go ahead and briefly explain what that is.
It's barrel proof Wild Turkey. So Wild Turkey has one mash bill that they use, and this is the barrel proof or cask strength, however you want to say it.
About 116,
This one's 116.8, and so different years it varies a little bit depending on what they get. Runs, unfortunately, it's getting a little more expensive around here. It's in the 50s now. It used to be around 42. You can still get it in 42 some places, 42, 45. But one thing, like I remember I've had conversations with people, especially about the Wild Turkey 101, that didn't know about that, hey, this is actually a really good bourbon. And they like other stuff from Wild Turkey and they don't know it's from Wild Turkey.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, I love Russell's Reserves. Great, that's a great bourbon. That is Wild Turkey.
Right,
You know,
so
it's just
same mash bill.
Same mash bill, it's just different age, maybe different barrels, different proof. So this is another one from the Wild Turkey family that is absolutely...
That's typically on Bourbon Geeks, top 5.
Yeah,
The most amazing, especially if you consider price.
Availability and price, this is one of the best ones on the market.
Totally agree.
Final bottle.
Final bottle, and I suspect this is the #1 distillery by as far as like number of bottles sold. It's everywhere. It is a huge attraction when people go to Kentucky. They visit this place. Super, super common.
To Kentucky?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Kentucky.
I thought maybe you were going with the Tennessee brand when you said it was such a huge brand.
Oh.
Because I almost threw a couple of maybe single barrels on the list, barrel proof.
I don't know what you're referring to.
I almost threw the Jack Daniel's single barrel.
Oh,
I said a huge distillery from Kentucky and single barrel proof, and you didn't put that together.
I didn't. Yeah, I totally missed it. I was thinking just bourbon only, so yeah, I didn't go to Kentucky or to Tennessee. But so anyway, and this is also a wheater, and certainly Maker's Mark is very common. It's available everywhere, every bar, every restaurant, and that kind of thing. So I think a lot of people have had it. A lot of people mix it with Coke if they're not, neat bourbon drinkers. But this is one I think that actually gets overlooked. This is what they call their finishing series, where they take little pieces of wood, stick it in, and actually kind of finish the whiskey right before it gets bottled.
Are you going to show us which one it is?
I'm going to show you which one it is. This is called number 46.
That one got removed from my list in place of Knob Creek 9-year just before you came over.
That's funny.
So,
because you
100% agree.
This is a little bit more money, and it's a little bit better Maker's Mark. And I think some people, if you're just on price, you may miss it, or you jump over it to go to the store picks and the other stuff that's above it.
It gets up to like $45. That one in particular around here, the price range is just ridiculous.
It does.
It goes
like
from, I've seen it at 20 for $25 at Total Wine. Now it's 30 there.
Yep.
It's 45 at a lot of liquor stores. It's 40 some places. It's just, the price is everywhere.
Yeah. Now this happens to be a 375 bottle. But if you're looking for it, the bottle did change. It's more the square bottle that looks like Maker's Mark.
Looks like the regular Maker's Mark.
And has a paper label on it now. But still the same stuff inside the
And
bottle.
it's a great bourbon.
It really is
but
great.
Incidentally, not for everybody. Like, I've heard mixed reviews about Maker's Mark products in general.
Yep.
And I love them. You love them. But I think that one, the reason I was going to put that on my list, because it's like, you got to try Maker's Mark because it's such a unique flavor profile. And if you don't like just the regular Makers, there's so many different options with the 46, Cask Strength 101, and then
all
with
the
the private
picks.
selects.
Yep.
It's an endless amount of different flavor profiles. So, well, I want to drink a little bit of everything on this list. I wish we had glasses so we could do the Benny Walker special. Unfortunately, most of my bottles are empty, so got to replace these one by one for the decanter.
Yep.
Any honorable mentions you can think of before we? Well, we can sit here all day and do that.
We could, but the reality is, I skipped Jack Daniels because I acknowledge it's a. I tried to stay bourbon-y. This one's technically
which it is a bourbon. We've talked about that.
It is, but
we'll let them have the Tennessee.
Yep, we'll leave that one alone. But Jack Daniels is also great. But I think people.
I was going to put that on my list, the single barrel proof. I realize that that's more of an advanced whiskey drinker's
I think it
bourbon.
because it's really high proof and expensive.
But I think some people skip it because of that, because they look at it, it's like, oh, it's Jack Daniels. Now, that Jack Daniels may be associated with popularity.
Jack and Coke.
And, yeah.
It's
but maybe not associated quite as much with like a whiskey.
Quality.
Geeks whiskey, you know, and they have so many great expressions that like,
You know, that's a fair point because, I mean, it was less than a year ago that I bought my first bottle of Jack Daniels, and I've not. It's been decades since I've even tried Jack Daniels.
Yeah, everybody kind of associates it with the Black Label, Old Number 7.
Yep.
And it's like that's kind of a budget-friendly, entry-level whiskey that people like to make cocktails with.
Jack and Coke or whatever. But there's actually a Jack Daniels following, and they make a lot of different products.
Yeah.
That are that you can drink neat and really.
Yeah, and they've got some really good stuff.
Absolutely.
Other than that, I mean, obviously the Evan Williams single barrel, we always talk about that. That's a great entry level bourbon, but that one's going to distillery only, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, we could probably do a whole nother tier of these, but these are the basic ones that, again, like I've talked to people that are well into their whiskey drinking, career.
Bourbon collecting.
Yeah,
but you probably
there's a couple here that
some.
that have never had, and there's definitely ones that I haven't had yet that
absolutely.
are, and it's not because I've skipped them on purpose. It's just, you want to buy all the bourbons and you can't buy all the bourbons, so you sometimes skip one of these, and then every once in a while I'll be watching a review and someone will say, hey, Old Granddad Bonded, don't sleep on this bottle, go try it, and then I'll go try it and I love it.
Yeah,
so
totally agree.
Hopefully this list helps you out if you're looking for ideas of things you might have skipped. So anyway, well, this has been our 5 sleeper bourbons, bourbons not to miss, bourbons to drink on your way down the bourbon road. However you want to say it on the bourbon note. I'm Ben.
Shouldn't we say top 11 overlooked bourbons?
Top 11.
Top 11.
Well, each of our top 5 in everybody's. This is going to be in everyone's list.
Well,
there's not a bourbon drinker on the planet that has a channel that's not going to have this on the list.
I bet there's someone.
Maybe.
Anyway, I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.